Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome for the moment of the year that you have all been waiting for. It is officially Powder Puff time here in West Defford. One of the most look forward to moments of our school year as we prepare for Powder Puff 2022, featuring the senior class of 2023 against the junior class of 2024. My name is Mr. Morrell, Assistant Principal of Athletics and Activities, here once again to prepare us for our Media Day Gala as we meet our teams and prepare for Wednesday night's 7 p.m. kickoff. I am excited to be joined this year by my two partners in crime. This year we have representatives from both the seniors and juniors class. Senior Representative Sean Freight Train Kennedy, a 2-year starter at offensive guard and a defensive specialist, as well as an all-conference selection. And to his right, my left, Corey, formerly known as the Giraffe Ratcliffe, a 2-year starter at offensive line and defensive end for our football program. Gentlemen, welcome. For over 30 years, the Powder Puff tradition here at West Defford has been strong. It is a culture of toughness, blue-collar effort, and work ethic that our students get to put on display under the bright lights here in the nest. And once again, we look to a great matchup. This year, maybe more so than any other year, the anticipated matchup of the class of 23 versus the class of 24. Obviously, as we all know, this class of 2023 may go down in the history books as one of the best ever. A win last year as juniors with an 18-0 shutout over the class of 22 in dominating fashion has ranked them as one of the top 3 teams of all time, right up there with the back-to-back champs in the class of 2020. So to kick off this year's Media Day special, I want to ask each of you. Sean, you start us off. What are you the most excited about when it comes to Powder Puff 2022?
I'm excited to see the athletes. You know, like some school events go on and you don't really get to see the athletes perform, but here it's a show under the lights. You get to see athletes in their non-respective sport and get into play.
Great point. And this is a sport in Powder Puff that only comes along once every year. We don't get to see these athletes in this kind of setting at all until then. And a lot of times, you know, we're going to talk about this, you have some dark horses that you didn't know were there that come out of nowhere, right? We know who the really good, the big name headliner athletes are, but you always seem to come out of Powder Puff with a real appreciation for those people that were behind the scenes and have a big impact on the game. Corey, your thoughts on your excitement for Powder Puff 2022?
Where can I start? I'm very excited. I'm ready for the intensity. You know, last year I could see the older senior class really slow down their intensity as they got shut out by the new senior class. But I really want to see both teams really dig deep and just know that you're playing for something and you're not playing to have fun. You're actually playing for who's a better class.
Yeah, and you hit the nail. I think one area that this game this year will be better than it was a year ago would be the pride factor. I think both these classes, and you two are great representatives of that, have a lot of pride in their class and their classmates. And when you have two teams that are playing for pride, yeah, it's going to be it's going to be exciting. Now, last year a shutout. You know, when we look at these two teams, and you guys can argue with me or you can agree, but I see a lot of speed, and speed generally equivalates to great defense, which we saw a year ago. Your initial thoughts on the matchup between these two teams when you look at the roster, Sean?
I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think it's going to be a lot. The defenses look great, and then offense, I know the senior class does have a very strong offense, but I'm excited to see what that junior class defense can bring to them.
Definitely. We got some downhill runners and a lot of speed on both sides of the ball.
I think a lot of times what Powder Puff comes down to are the coaching staffs. And this year when you look at these two coaching staffs, very different makeup. You have a senior staff that is intact from a year ago. 7 coaches, specific responsibilities, each one of them, which is probably what led to their victory last year, which is why they had so much success. You look at the junior class, 15, 16, you know, they'll add a couple more the night of, 18, you know, coaches on the sideline. It's a lot of hands in the pot. You know, Corey, you start us off. What is your take on the way that these two teams have approached their coaching staff hirings?
Yeah, I just believe the junior class felt that it would just be a fun idea for everyone to go out there and each have a role. But 16 coaches keeps adding up, but 16 coaches does seem like a lot. alongside the senior class with the 7 main coaches who really know the schemes and what it takes to play football, I feel like really outweighs quality over quantity.
I got to agree with Ratcliffe there. I think the coaches they have on the senior team, most of them football players, and they all bought into the scheme they're running, as where the juniors, I feel like there's a lot of them, and then I think most of them aren't football players. Although I believe they can still get the job done, it's just a lot of hands in the pot, as you would say.
Well, you hit the nail on the head with buy-in. And when I look at the junior roster, and we'll start with the juniors, I'm most impressed with the depth of caliber athlete they have. Yates, Mackey, Bennett, Diaz, Barford, Yaruso. The list goes on and on. Peyton Lindsay. When you look down this list, I mean, there are a lot of high-level athletes on this roster with a lot of intensity. Corey, you're part of that class. What do you anticipate being the strength of this junior class?
Definitely their running game. I heard Coach Cook and Kjuan Land both state that their main priority is going to be running the ball because it's going to be cold. No one really wants to throw it, which is a very hard move to do with both offensive and defensive lines pounding each other face for face.
Sean, talk to me about what you think some of the weaknesses might be of this junior team.
Definitely, they're new. They're not tested. And I think maybe, in my opinion, I think the O-line, because the O-line I feel like is the hardest position to be good at in powder puff football. It's a lot of moving pieces, and it's very hard to be good at. So I feel like I'd like to see how they do.
Yeah, and you make a great point right there. I mean, that's one of the areas that you realize the least when things are going well. When a running game or a passing game is going well, it seems to be all about the skill players. You only notice the offensive line when things are going wrong. And one thing that I would like to see, and I'm looking forward to from the seniors as we transition to the class of 23, they gave up a lot of internal pressure a year ago. What are Coach Baglivo and offensive line coach Luke Laxton going to do to correct those issues that force them to go to the edge? Because if they're forced to go to the edge again this year, I don't know necessarily if they're going to get the edge, which now makes you either come back inside the tackles or throw the football. And as we talked about in Powder Puff, with it being cold, wet ground, I don't know if throwing the ball is the best way to go. So Sean Kennedy, what do you think that this offensive line needs to do to be successful against a very fast, anticipated to be downhill defense on Wednesday night?
I think they need to trust each other and not do too much. I think that's the most important thing, is to do your job and don't try to do too much. Don't overcomplicate it, and then I think you have some really good progress and you can do some damage.
Corey, when you look at this senior class, we know they're talented, but where are the cracks in the armor when you look at their roster? What are the areas that the juniors can expose on this senior crew?
Juniors definitely can expose their wideouts and obviously, as you said, their internal run game. I see a lot of depth within the linebackers and the 2 tackles. So if they try to pound it up the middle, I don't know if they're going to get it done with the anticipated, well-developed junior defense.
Yeah. Needless to say, we're all really excited about Wednesday night and being under the lights at 7 p.m. And we're going to get the opportunity when we come back to talk to coaching staffs and players from both teams and get their feel for Wednesday night and what Powder Puff means to them. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will have our interviews with both the senior and junior classes of Powder Puff 2022. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back as we begin our interview process in preparation for the 2022 Powder Puff event. And right now we have the returning champions, the class of 2023, who come off of last season with an impressive 18-0 shutout. So many questions for you guys. First of all, last year, super impressed mostly with your defense. We know you have speed offensively. Acevedo, Jaden Kelly, Alexi Yeager, McGivern. The list goes on and on and on of names that can provide you with speed. But my number one question is, you had two first-team All-State Powder Puff defensive ends in Yeager and Scarrato, who really controlled the entire game a year ago and played for probably one of the best defenses that we've seen in Powder Puff history in West Effort. What has this group done? What have you done as a coaching staff to improve upon an already incredible showing a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, we try to keep the game plan as simple as possible for them, keep it very similar to last year. They're going to carry this team again this year. They're both leaders. They're both captains for a reason. We look to give them a little bit of help defensively, maybe implement some stunts and some blitz packages for them to give them some extra support on the edge there. But, I mean, in order to win this game, they need to have another good game.
One of the impressive things that I've seen when I look over the depth charts and coaching staffs, you are the first group that I've seen that has kept their coaching staff from a year ago completely intact. Whereas maybe other teams, you have to replace a person here or there. What does that do for the cohesiveness of your coaching staff? And what have your expectations been of your coaching staff going into this Powder Puff season?
Yeah, we've been consistent, I think is a good word to use. No moving parts. Each coach has their own position group that they work with, and then with the girls returning, they already know their coaches, they already know what they expect, and they really already know what they got to do.
Very good. What are your biggest challenges coming off of last year?
I think it's obvious. They have film on us. We don't have film on them. We don't know what we're going to get, but that can also help us out. They only have 2 practices to prepare. We've had a whole year. So there's pros and cons. You can look at it either way. But that's the biggest thing is we don't know what we're going to get. We can't prepare for a certain offense. We can't prepare for a certain defense. We just got to be ready. Try to put our athletes in the best possible situation for whatever they're going to see. We're going to keep the game plan exactly the same from last year, maybe expand a little bit here and there. But they know what they are going to get, and we don't. So that's probably our biggest challenge.
What are your biggest takeaways? What lessons did you learn last year that will be the most beneficial for you this season?
Overall, I thought we played really good and above expectations, but there's still some little mistakes here and there, missed assignments, misalignments, and I think we dropped like 4 interceptions, which can't happen this year if we want to win this game. This junior class is much more talented, and I think they're going to be much more well-structured than the last senior class. So they're going to give us a harder challenge, and we got to come away with those like little dropped interceptions and stuff like that.
Speaking on the defense, are you preparing against their offense as different schemes or coverages?
We're just going to keep everything the same because we don't really know what they're going to come out in. We played well as a defense last year. Defensive ends had a night. Just keep it going. And like I said, we don't know what we're going to prepare for with the junior class's offense.
Coach Laxton, uncommon to have a skill player like yourself, you being a wide receiver and defensive back and a long snapper, in your own playing career, now operating as the offensive line coach. After I went back and had the opportunity to watch last year's tape, a lot of internal leakage last year in between the tackles, which led you to have to use your speed on the edges, which was successful for you. However, with that same group returning up front, how do you clean up that internal pressure that a team with the speed of this year's junior class is going to bring from start to finish?
Right. So last year we really relied on the outside run. This year we want to work a little bit on more of the dive inside in between the tackles. And right after this, right when we get out to practice, the first thing we're doing. We know the outside run. We know what we got to do. The interior run is what me and Coach Bilodeau, who is the assistant offensive line coach, that's what we're going to work on most this year is the interior run.
And how do you handle trying to install a front when you don't know what front they're going to run? What does that do to your practice setup, makeup, when you don't know exactly what you're going to get?
I would say
with only 2 days to prepare.
I would say put them up against just different fronts.
For example,
if we don't know if they're going to be a 5-man, if they're going to be a 4-man. If it's a 5-man, it's a big on big up front. If it's a 4-man, maybe we're going to say, we're going to double this, we're going to double that, create gaps, and then we base the plays off of that.
Sounds good. What are you looking for in your team through the first quarter into the last?
The message is definitely just start hot and stay hot. Last year we started very hot. We scored early. We have some good offensive plays that can get us in the end zone pretty quick. We look to execute those. They might see it coming, just seeing film on that, but we have some loopholes to get around them and stuff like that. And then just defensively, just keep them out of the red zone, keep them out of the end zone, and just play our game.
Well, guys, it's certainly the energy is ramping up and the juices are flowing here in the school building. And as we get closer and closer to Wednesday night, I am sure that the intensity level between both teams will be at a fevered pitch. Any last words? If you had to define your squad, the class of 2023, how would you define them right now?
Determined, hungry. They want more.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard-working group of girls. They're ready to go to work. They aren't satisfied. We shut out last year's team, and we're looking to do the same thing this year.
Great. Corey, any final questions?
Nothing much. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, coaches, we wish you the best of luck on Wednesday night. We're excited to watch you go toe-to-toe with who we think is going to be a great matchup for you guys. And with that, we will take a quick break, and we will come back with our senior players and get their thoughts as we prepare for the 2022 Powder Puff event. Be back in a minute. And welcome back for Powder Puff 2022. I am here with my colleague Corey, formerly known as the Giraffe Ratcliffe, as we prepare to interview our senior Powder Puff players as they prepare for Powder Puff 2022. Ladies, welcome. And I'm going to kick it off by asking a very simple question. What does the 23 class need to do to win this game this year?
I think we need to stay focused and not get in our heads since we had such a great game last year. We need to come out just as hard as we did and keep the energy up and keep working at practice.
And what do you find to be the challenges? Lex, you kind of just mentioned, we cannot get in our own. We can't feel too good about ourselves. Coach Baglivo in the last segment talked about, we are not satisfied. How do you challenge yourself to play even better than you did a year ago?
I believe that last year we came out every day and worked our hardest, but I think this year we can give 110%. We definitely worked hard, but we can always work harder. And I think this year we're definitely going to come out on top again because of our confidence and determination through practices.
That's good. Now, huge, big shutout victory last year. Are the nerves still in you, or are you guys too confident?
I think they're a good group of girls, so we're definitely up against a good competition, but we have just as much as they have with speed and athletes, and so I think it's going to be a good match.
What do you know now going into this year that you wish you knew going into last year?
I definitely realized that the lights, as you always say, the lights are very bright, and I feel like everyone is focused on what they're doing themselves, and we should be focused more as a team and not worry about all the little mistakes that we make and just come out on top, even if we do make any mistake at all.
I agree. I think it's a lot different from the practices. At practice, you can sit there and you can ask the coaches questions each time, but when you're actually out on that field, it's real and you don't have time to go and figure things out. You just got to go out there and do it.
That's good. Is there any keys to victory for you guys?
I think just all around our whole team, coming out and working together. Last year we performed really well, so if we just do the same thing we did last year, I think we'll defeat them again.
I think throughout the game, we're just going to have to adapt to what they're doing and come up with whatever we can to go against that and win.
So we know what you guys do well. Speed, intensity, two of the better defensive ends we've seen in the league, playing for one of the better defenses that we've seen. What are some of the concerns that you have? What are some of the things that you worry about going into Wednesday night? I think we all agree that this junior class is probably a better matchup for you than last year's senior class. What is it that they bring to the table that concerns you the most, that you're the most aware of for Wednesday night?
I think we all know that they're going to bring a lot of speed to the table, and that I think we just need to adapt to see a play, see how much speed they have, and then just go from there.
I think flag pulling too. It's not the easiest thing always, so I mean that's what this game is. We're gonna have to be able to pull the flags.
I know you guys have two standout defensive ends, but is there anybody else on your team that is showing potential?
I would say this season we definitely lost a lot of girls, but we've gained some bombshells, and I think that we're going to surprise you guys underneath the lights on Wednesday.
What kind of environment does the senior class need to create for you to play your best powder puff?
I think that our environment is always positive with our class. Last year we won Spirit Week and Powder Puff. I would say we are not confident. We are actually very humble, and we're all just excited to step out back into that positive environment and come out on top again.
Great. Corey, any last questions?
I'm excited to see Wednesday. No?
Yeah, I'm excited to see the intensity. I think you got two groups that are coming out and going to play each other with great deal of intensity, a lot of mutual respect, built very similarly, but the fact that you have that that experience from a year ago, I think is going to go a long way. So we wish you guys the best of luck. Good luck in the next 2 days of practice, and put a product on the field that you're going to be proud of Wednesday night.
Thank you.
Yeah. And when we return, we will meet the junior class of 2024 and get their feedback on what to expect on Powder Puff 2022. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back, everyone, to the 2022 Powder Puff Media Day special. I am here again with my partner in crime, Sean Freight Train Kennedy, as we prepare to discuss this year's game with the junior class, the class of 2024. We have head coach Ryan Cook here with offensive coordinator.
No, I'm head coach.
Head coach
Special teams.
Huan Popland. I got it confused with the amount of work, Ryan, that you've been doing and the little amount of work that Pop's been doing. But gentlemen, welcome. And we want to start off with a monumental challenge for the class of 2024. And when a class their junior year wins Powder Puff, it kind of sets the tone for the following year. The last class to win back-to-back games was the class of 2020, who dominated in both the 19 and 20 games. You sit here taking on, an uphill battle. Last year, this senior class won 18-0 as juniors, so obviously a great defense that you're going to see in a powerful offense. Sean and I want to know, what are your general thoughts as you go into your first ever West Effort Powder Puff game?
Yeah, so going into it, obviously we've watched our film from last year's game. Obviously it's accessible for us. We see that we've got a big challenge ahead of us. It's definitely an uphill battle. I'm not going to discredit the senior class at all. They definitely have their athletes and their playmakers, but we just think that coming into this game, everyone thinks we're just going to show up and roll over for them, and we're really looking forward to bringing the fight to them as an underdog mentality because they don't know what we have yet. So we really think that we can catch them off guard and run some points up on them early and then do what they did to the class of, I believe it was class of 22 last year, and just milk the clock.
Yeah, and absolutely, Coach, I think looking at your roster, you certainly have some dark horse candidates who could come out of nowhere and surprise us. Yeah. Coach Land, Coach Cook talked about, you watched the film from last year. Mm-hmm. What specifically stood out to you about last year's tape?
Slower corners. Malia's at her. I'm not throwing shots at Malia. She's a good soccer player and athlete, but we feel like we got more speed over there than her.
On the defensive side of the ball, you have faster corners, which is going to assist you how?
Make big plays coming towards the outside, and
What are the three things you really think you need to stop that the senior class does well offensively?
We just think that, obviously, watching the seniors last year, they're a run-first offense. Seeing their plays from last year, we believe they're going to run similar offenses to last year because if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. Obviously, an 18-0 shutout is a convincing victory. So we think that we need to contain them to the middle because we have a very strong D-line. We think that if they hit the outsides, we're going to struggle a little bit. We got to get our safeties down on the ball early, and we're planning on loading the box to try and prevent these big plays that the seniors were able to capitalize on last year.
Do you think a position group will stick out for your team and really change the game?
I do. I think our running backs. We have a three-headed monster out of the backfield. I'm not going to reveal who it is, but I don't think the senior D-line is ready for these girls out of the backfield.
So you guys haven't begun practice yet. Practice
not.
begins today.
Yes.
A little bit different scheduling wise because we're so packed in here with half days and Thanksgiving break around the corner, NHS induction. There's a lot going on. So this year you're a little under the gun with only 2 practice days before game day. Coach Land, talk to us about what the challenges are of only having 2 practice days prior to a major event.
I feel like it's a bigger challenge on us because girls first year coming out doing powder puff. So it's teaching them the fundamentals.
Fundamentals?
Yeah, it's fundamentals. Damn.
Fundamentals.
Yeah.
Fundamentals?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
And what fundamentally does the junior class pride itself on, offensively, defensively, and in the special teams game?
Defensively, 11 hats to the ball. We need every single girl run from across the field to get to the ball.
Offensively?
I think offensively, our biggest thing is going to be Wednesday night's going to be a cold one. We've checked out the forecast. It's definitely going to be a cold one, which doesn't affect our game plan too much as we're planning on running the ball heavily. As you mentioned earlier, with our dark horse candidates that we have out of the backfield, I think it would be unwise of us to not put the ball in their hands. Each girl gets 10 to 15 carries and just see what they can do. We're really looking forward to seeing what they can do in open space. So offensively, we're looking to pound the chains. We're looking to move the ball fast, and we're looking to we get that the game's going to be a game of ebbs and flows. We're okay with, if we give up a big play, we just got to reset our minds and get right back to it rather than dwelling on the past.
That's good right there. What do you think is going to be the main factor to winning this game?
Sure. Obviously the seniors have experience. They're coming in. All these girls have played the positions. I would assume they're all going to be playing the same positions again this year because it would be unwise to switch up a depth chart that found so much success last year. I think what we're looking to be the biggest X factor is the fact that we have a lot of speed on our offense. Majority of the girls' track team are juniors, so we have a lot of plays where we're looking to get them the ball in open space and just get them going downfield.
So obviously, Ava Yates, Janie Cross, Rachel Barford in your backfield. What do you? I know you talked about corners being the weak link. However, what does your passing game look like?
We got Liv at a wide receiver. She's got good hands, speed. Get it to her out quick and let her make some yards for herself.
And most importantly, and most people forget this, and I'm sure you guys have read, you're familiar with the overtime rules.
Yes.
Yes. So, Coach Cook, you are the special teams coordinator. Walk us through the overtime rules in powder puff football. We don't even want to send the game to overtime, truthfully. We haven't really thought about that. We haven't even thought about overtime because the game's not going to go to overtime. So what we created back in 2018, Sean, I know you'll remember this, we had our first ever tie in 2013. So the rules had to change a little bit. And now in overtime, we actually kick field goals to determine the winner. Clearly, as special teams coach, that's high on your priority list. I'll say this right now, I have full confidence in our kicker. Rachel Barford is our kicker. Yep, long snapper and holder. Yeah, long snapper's Liv Herrera. She's going to be great, and we're planning on having Cassie Russo hold the ball as our quarterback. She's going to have the best hands on the team. What yard line do you feel you're the most comfortable with to ensure a successful field goal? I think I trust Rachel from 40 or below, truthfully. I think she's got a monster of a leg. She's, as you know, she's a very good girls soccer player. She's a huge part of that team at such a young age, too. She was a junior this year. She found a lot of success on the soccer field. We really think that her leg is going to translate well. And how do you deal with the cold weather and that translating to the kicking game? I think it's going to go both ways. Obviously, the wind's not only blowing one way. I think it's going to be cold for us. It's going to be cold for the seniors. But I think we're just going to prepare Rachel that it's going to be cold. The wind should be a factor in the game, and we're just going to teach her that if she misses a field goal, it's not the end of the world. She can go right back out and get it back because she's also our kickoff specialist. So if she misses a field goal or anything like that, we give up a big play, Rachel knows that she has the ability to turn the tide just with her kick. So we're really looking forward to seeing what she can do. Freight train?
That's good stuff right there. I do have one more question. What are you looking for through your team throughout a game full of ups and downs? What are you really looking for your team?
We're just looking to stay positive here. Something we've been preaching as a coaching staff is we're going all out here. We're not looking to like some would say, play a slow, methodical offensive game plan. We are looking to have our big explosive plays. We know we're going to give up some because that's just how the game works. It's human nature. Everyone's going to make errors, but we're really looking forward to just going as hard as we can and hopefully running up enough points in the first quarter to where we can slowly ease off the gas pedal and just play a little bit more conservative. My final question is, you seem at my last count, there were 16 coaches on your coaching staff. That's a lot of hands. It is. In the pot. How do you determine as head coach
Coach Land. How do you determine who's doing what, and how do you ensure, as things get more and more intense, that everybody knows their role so that the efficiency of the way that you operate is at its peak level on game night?
I think everyone knows their role, what they have to bring into the table to get the win, and that's what we're looking for.
Outstanding.
I think building off what Pop said there, yes, we do have a lot of coaches. It's been something that we've received a lot of criticism for, but we believe every guy there is influential, and we're going to need everyone.
Yeah, and the final word I would say, Ryan, we talked about this earlier. There are a lot of people out there in Powder Puff land that are discounting the junior class. When I look at this roster, I think you definitely have speed, certainly athleticism. I think that you could probably give the senior class of 2023 the best possible game that they could get.
That's what we're hoping to do.
What is your message to the doubters, as you call them, the haters, as you youngsters say today? What's your message to
all
those
I would
people?
like to say to the haters is you can keep sleeping on us as much as you'd like. There's no better place to be than with our backs against the wall, because the only way up is out. So I think that right now we're definitely the underdog in the situation. I mean, as the seniors playing last year, they played a great game last year. None of us are going to discredit that. But we think that we can really bring it to them early, and we don't think they're ready for us at all.
Wonderful. All right, guys. Well, we wish you the best of luck. We're excited to see the product you put on the field on Wednesday night. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And we will be back with the junior players and their take for the Powder Puff 2022 event this Wednesday night. Be right back. And welcome back to Media Day 2022 for our Powder Puff event this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. right here in the Nest. I'm back here with my partner in crime, Sean Freight Train Kennedy, and we have joining us some members of the junior class of 2024 as they prepare for their first ever Powder Puff event. Ladies, we're going to open it right up, and anyone can answer these questions. And we had two members of your coaching staff on here earlier. Everybody wants to know, you're heading into Powder Puff, your first Powder Puff, against a team that will probably go down in history as one of the best teams we've had come through here, an 18-0 victory over last year's senior class. What do you consider the greatest challenges to be in overcoming this senior group and getting the job done on Wednesday night?
I think that defense is going to win us this game more than offense is, and I think that attack wins games and defense wins championships. And so I think if we play a really strong defense, that we'll be able to lock down their fast players, because we have a lot of really fast runners. So
16 coaches on the coaching staff. You haven't had a practice yet. Might be 18 coaches at this point. I don't know. The tally keeps getting bigger and bigger. What do you expect? What are your expectations of your coaching staff going into practice today and tomorrow? Only 2 practice days to prepare for Wednesday night.
I feel like communication is going to be good because the amount of coaches we have, so it will be easy to stay focused and try not to be unfocused and just stay good with communication.
Speaking on that topic, since you guys have not practiced yet, how prepared are you really feeling, and are you feeling the coaches are doing a good job getting you ready?
I think we're prepared because we've talked about it, even though we haven't been on the field yet, to see what we can do. We all have an idea.
What are your biggest concerns for Wednesday night? I know one thing we always say control the controllables. The reality is it's going to be 38 degrees. You're going to have a wet surface. We're supposed to get inclement weather tomorrow. It's going to be dark, damp, cold. It's your first experience. What, besides maybe the weather conditions, are your major concerns going into Wednesday night?
Probably lack of experience. I mean, they played last year before, so they kind of know the positions and everything. This is just all new to us.
I also think that one of our biggest challenges is going to be they also have a lot of speed, and I think it's going to come down to whose legs can work more, who has more stamina, who can keep going the whole game, because they're also really fast, but so are we. So I think that's going to be a big challenge for us.
And I think handling the butterflies of the intensity of the situation, those lights are very bright. And you don't realize it till you're out there. And now you're competing against another team, and you feel like the whole world's watching you, and every single mistake you make might be magnified. What is it? So we talked about what you're concerned about. What is it that you believe you will do well, besides just your speed?
I feel like we can have good defense if, watching the game from last year, I feel like the only reason that the seniors this year won was because the seniors last year, their defense wasn't as good. I feel like we can have a good defense and stop points coming in.
Now, do you believe your lineup is finalized, or will you be going into practice with moving parts?
I think we're going to have some moving parts. We haven't talked about everyone's specific positions, and everyone still has to learn where they're going to be best on the field.
What kind of environment do you need to create to have the upper hand on Wednesday night?
I feel like intense. We got to be hype and ready for the game.
Confident.
Yeah, confident.
I also think we have to stay really positive, because we know that people are going to make mistakes, and we can't just sit there and blame them and say that they just lost us a game or anything. We have to keep picking each other up.
Move on after a mistake.
Absolutely. Freight Train, anything you want to ask to wrap up?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I personally, I think your team matches up the best against this senior class, without a doubt. I think it's going to be an absolute battle. We'll save our predictions for the end, but I want to wish you all the best of luck. Like I said, the lights are bright. You cannot allow that to get the best of you, but I'm confident that your class has the ability to make Wednesday night a great event, not only for your team, but for West Defford Township. We wish you the best of luck, ladies. And with that, we will return after a quick break to have our final thoughts and our predictions for the 2022 Powder Puff game. We'll be back in 1 minute. And we are back one more time as we wrap up Media Day 2022. Really interesting interviews from both the juniors and the seniors. You know, guys, I felt coming into the Media Day special like it was going to be a very evenly contested game. I got to be honest with you. I think the juniors are really facing an uphill battle here. Between the number of coaches on the coaching staff. When things start to go sideways on that sideline, as both of you know, if there's not cohesion and one voice on that sideline, things can go from bad to a whole lot worse real quick. And I don't think you can make that kind of mistake against such a tight-knit senior class like the one they're going to face this year. But, hey, that's just my thoughts, and I'm interested to see how that plays out. Let's talk about final thoughts and wrap this Media Day special up. Sean, Freight Train, Kenny, we'll start with you. Final thoughts on the class of 2023.
My final thoughts is it's a great group, great athletes, and it's going to be a fun Wednesday.
Corey, thoughts on the class of 2024? A lot has transpired in this Media Day. Do you feel as confident when we started this now, after hearing from both the coaching staff and players of your class of 2024?
You know, there is a lot of coaching staff, but I really do feel confident about this junior class. You know, you got a lot of athletes, a lot of players to watch, and, you know, maybe someone might surprise you in that end. I'm really excited for Wednesday.
Keys to victory.
The keys to victory I have are intensity of focus, sticking to what they know and not trying to overcomplicate it because they can, and then executing.
For the juniors, definitely a downhill defense. You got a lot of outside runs on the senior class. A well-developed O/D defensive line. You definitely need that with a ton of athletes on the senior class. And definitely my last key to victory is just go out there and have fun, because this is your first time playing, and if things hit the fan, as you would say, just try your best and, you know, just shoot for the stars.
Yeah, I think Sean brings up a great point about the seniors, and this is the one area I would say they could make a mistake. We talked earlier about where are the cracks in the armor. You have a very confident senior group, both coaches and players. If that group tries to do too much, you said do what you know you're good at, no more than that. I think they're playing against a junior squad that can make them pay for trying to do too much. If you turn the ball over, if you try to do something that's outside your wheelhouse just to be cute or showboat-ish, I think that this junior class could really make you pay. And that being said, gentlemen, we're going to wrap this thing with your final prediction on score. All right, Sean, give it to me from your gut. What do you say?
I think if the juniors play to the best they can play, I think it'd be a shootout. But I'm a realistic man. I'm thinking 27-17 seniors.
Wow, I like that score. High scoring.
Well, I actually do have the opposite. I got 28-14 juniors.
Wow, 2 touchdowns better. After listening to everybody speak, I really believe that this junior class is a difficult matchup for the seniors. I think both defenses are going to be hitting on all cylinders, and I think this has overtime written all over it. I think this has an instant classic written all over it. I've got the senior class with a 10-7 overtime field goal victory in what will be one of the best defensive showdowns that we may have seen in Powder Puff history. Gentlemen, I wish both your classes good luck. We're going to see you in the booth with me on Wednesday night, bringing the energy. And for those of you out there in Powder Puff land, we cannot wait for Wednesday night, 7 p.m., right here in the Nest, just the way we like it. 38 degrees, damp, cold, windy conditions. Let's see these two teams control the controllables, and let's have a great, incredible event on Wednesday night. Powder Puff 2022 coming at you in just a few days. We will see you there. Take care, everybody.